We're going to give it just a few minutes before we get started today. Okay, I am going to kick us off for today's webinar. I would like to welcome OpenFin partner LeapXpert. Today's discussion will be led by Adam Toms, joined by Dima Gutzeit, founder and CEO of LeapXpert. The focus for today's webinar is productivity and compliance. And what does productivity mean in the world of chat messaging? With a world where there is a chat platform for various user types and use cases, how do you consolidate the experience and improve user productivity while maintaining the highest standard of compliance and security? The discussion will be followed by a live demo showcasing how this was achieved leveraging OpenFin, highlighting OpenFin's workspace, which includes browser, notification center, and home. Now, before I hand it over to Adam, a quick reminder for our audience. The webinar is being recorded and will be available on demand. Our QA chat is open for questions. Please feel free to drop questions for our panel towards the end of our discussion. I will be sharing helpful links throughout the webinar. And lastly, if you have any questions or would like to schedule a follow-up or a more in-depth demo, I will place contact info in the chat for you. And with that, I am going to hand it over to you, Adam.
Thank you very much, Mitra, and welcome everybody to this afternoon's or this morning's webinar. And welcome and thank you to Dima and the team at LeapXpert. So the story of Open LeapXpert is a really interesting one. It's driven by actually client demand that OpenFin was seeing and us looking in the marketplace for solutions, and came across Dima and the team at LeapXpert. Really solving the problem of lots of chats being on people's desktops and messaging. So we thought it'd be super interesting today just to take a step back, look at the journey of how communication has really evolved on the desktop, the role LeapXpert is playing, and then thinking about where this goes next, and finally ending up with a demo of showing you some of the functionality of LeapXpert and LeapXpert specifically running on OpenFin. So Dima, welcome to the webinar and thank you for taking the time.
Thank you for having me.
And, so I guess we should start at the beginning, who and what is LeapXpert? Sure.
So, so LeapXpert is all about something we call responsible business communication, right? So it's a flashy slogan, but in reality, what we're doing is we're enabling company employees of different roles from different types of companies with a special focus on regulated institutions to communicate externally in a responsible manner. And we will explain exactly what it means. The company was established in 2017, so we've been around the block for a few years, and we are pioneering this concept all around the world since then. We're a global company headquartered in New York with offices really across the globe to better service our customers. When it comes to commercial traction, many of tier 1 and tier 2 financial institutions these days are using our solutions for many years already to communicate responsibly over multiple messengers in multiple geographies with multiple banking verticals as well. Not only we're working with financial institutions, we're also working with law firms and other types of enterprises who require responsible business communication. As part of what we do, we have partnerships with many leading providers in the space, including OpenFin, of course, and we have multiple patents all around the world protecting the key innovations in our platform. So that's briefly about us.
Yeah. Great. And so, from a solution perspective, I think there's kind of two distinct tracks that you're kind of solving here. One which is productivity around the user and solving for these problems of multiple chat platforms being out there. and people kind of selecting their own chat platform. So how do we improve the productivity, around the interaction with those chat platforms? And the second is really making sure it's kind of compliant and with the appropriate security for today's world, which is super important. So if we kind of take a step back, dig into each of those. So maybe let's start with the productivity element, and maybe how has the story evolved around chat platforms? I think most people, email to chat, everybody gets it, but it's a much bigger problem than that. Let's dig into that a little bit.
Absolutely. In order to understand where we are right now, let's take a step back. So the way we communicate with clients, the way the companies communicate with clients has fundamentally evolved. It used to be all about telephony, right? In 60s, it was super easy. You call somebody and that's it. And then we evolved into emails, right? Much more convenient communication method, much more parties involved. And again, it was all calm and comfortable for enterprises to use it for many years. And then now we're in this third wave of communication, which is mobile communication, mobile messaging specifically. In fact, more than 6 billion people are using messengers on a monthly basis. That's around 85% of the entire human population, right? So people using messengers, different messengers all around the world. Now, and this works very nice for our personal lives, right? We can message all our friends, family, and everybody else. Now, when you bring the same concept into your work life, right, into enterprises, then it's becoming very convenient, but also very problematic. So what we see that around 20% of all the conversations of mobile messaging is happening for work. It's from usability perspective, it's very nice, but then it brings compliance issues and productivity challenges, right? Nobody wants to juggle tens of different applications just to complete specific task at work, right? And specifically about compliance, when it comes to mobile messaging, there are big gaps, right? The fundamental gap is about data ownership. All the information exchanged by company employee of any role with any external party, clients, belong to a personal device of company employee, personal device of a client. Does not belong with the enterprise, with the company, with the firm, right? So for generic enterprises, it's a very big data ownership issue, but especially for regulated institutions, it's a huge compliance gap.
Yeah. And I think we even see it ourselves internally in our business. So, we're a Slack house internally at OpenFin. Our support desk, obviously has various communication tools to reach our clients. Sometimes we create a client Slack channel with them. Sometimes our clients say to, even say to us, like, hey, no, we're using this product or service instead. Can we communicate on this channel? And I think it's that's the same for most organizations, really. They've got some, either got a primary kind of communication tool, which is their in-house tool, which they kind of live and breathe around. But particularly if you're in a client-facing role, you're faced with these other channels that the client is trying to communicate with you on. And so for those sales-facing folk or those customer-facing individuals, it's really about how do you make that experience more seamless? How do you deal with those kind of multitude of chat and messaging platforms? And how does LeapXpert really help with this problem?
Right. So our approach to this problem is very simple. Our solution is centralized communication platform that finally allows company employees to communicate responsibly with external parties. And it works for both sides of the equation here. It works for clients because from client perspective, they don't need to change behavior. So clients are as productive as they are using their personal messengers, they love it. And then it's becoming really geography specific. So North America, we see lots of usage of iMessage, SMS, and WhatsApp. In Asia, it's all about WeChat, Line, and WhatsApp, I would say. And then Europe, it's everything combined, give and take. But the main point here is that clients don't need to change behavior, right? They can just use messengers. And then when it comes to company employees, we are providing them many different choices and options, really depending on the internal workflows and how they're used to consume communication services. So specifically around productivity, lately we see a very big adoption of enterprise messengers. Adam, you mentioned Slack. We see Microsoft Teams being adopted everywhere by everyone, right? And enterprises who adopt Teams or Slack, they use those collaboration platforms as this centralized communication hub for all the internal communication. So to enhance productivity, specifically talking about Slack and Microsoft Teams, what we're doing is we are integrating with those platforms, allowing any company employee on Teams, let's say, to communicate responsibly with any client over any other messenger. And of course, the responsible here implies compliance.
Yeah, and maybe just to go a bit further on that. So, compliance and security we know is really, really important. What kind of controls are you providing within your product to help clients solve for that?
Right. So our product is, again, centralized communication platform, enables communication and provides enterprise controls that modern enterprises need. Example of those controls will be data leakage prevention. So our platform protects company employees when they're messaging externally, preventing them from disclosing information they should not be disclosing, on one hand. On the other hand, when you're messaging externally, there are inherent risks when it comes to viruses and malware that can be accidentally shared by external clients. So one enterprise controls we provide is an antivirus engine, which is built into our platform that detects any potential threats sent in files from clients, and we stop those in flight.
Wow. Okay. Yeah. So really interesting. I always think it's, when people talk about, compliance, they think about the, particularly financial services, they think about the core of like the requirement for record keeping. Of course, there's been many fines around that, but actually, that security layer that you're providing here equally as important. I think, also within that data that is captured, is archived for clients, again, we think about it very much for regulatory purposes, but, we always wonder about like, what is the embedded value inside that, to actually improve services. So, for instance, in contact centers, we see, they're on a constant journey to improve, the customer experience. They analyze data like endlessly, to improve, the NPS score and so on. And do you see that in the client base at all? Do you think that's something that people should be doing more of?
Yeah, absolutely. So, and this is part of the journey that we are going through with our customers. So first of all, the immediate concern of everybody is adapting our platform to enable responsible communication between company employees and clients. And then the next level of concern, right? The next tier of adoption is doing things with the data, right? Of course, very important data is being shared between company employees and clients. And definitely there's a way to understand what's happening, plug in different chatbots, analyze the conversations, and maybe suggest better answers to company employees. But I absolutely agree with you, Adam. When it comes to data, we see this as the next frontier of what we do. And of course, the precursor of data is the archiving, which we're enabling, as you mentioned. So any information exchanged between company employee and clients is being archived for any potential future use.
Yeah, and give us a sense of the journey here of your company, like where you started and where that's evolved to. So, and I know obviously, Asia, was much quicker on allowing people to do instant messaging, and then you've kind of seen it expand through different areas. But I think it's interesting for listeners to understand that journey.
Definitely. So our company was born in Asia, indeed, because Asia messaging as a phenomenon was born in Asia as well, right? And right now it's arrived to US. As a product, we started from a very simple application that allowed company employees to communicate with few messenger. Really, we started with WhatsApp and WeChat. That was to begin with, and then we've seen increased demand when it comes to types of messengers we need to support. For example, just last year, we introduced support for Signal, for Telegram. And so this is when it comes to consumer messengers. And then we also started seeing that providing our own application to clients might not be enough, because many companies already adopted the use of something like Microsoft Teams and Slack. So this is where we introduced integration with existing enterprise messengers. So really to address the needs of clients, wherever they are, whatever messages they want to use, and also address the needs of our enterprise users who don't want to be bound into a single way of communication, but want to have the flexibility communicating from the existing technology or communication stack in the firm.
Cool. No, it makes a ton of sense. So I think it's probably time we dig in a little bit more around our partnership and what LeapXpert looks like on OpenFin. As I mentioned earlier, this was born out of a client demand that we'd seen actually from clients in Asia ourselves who are adopting OpenFin Workspace, the product that we launched last year. and they were really keen to kind of solve this problem of chat and having lots of chat and messaging channels, which led to us kind of connecting and looking at this integration, think about how we could solve this. And I think it's fair to say that the products together actually work incredibly well, and it'd be great if you can maybe just share with us a little bit, like what are the touch points of the integration, and then maybe we could jump into a demo here.
Absolutely. So as part of our integration with OpenFin, we integrated with the three fundamental components of the OpenFin framework. One is being the OpenFin browser, which allows us to run our experience side by side with other applications inside the OpenFin container, completely detached from a browser experience. Second is integration with OpenFin Home, which allows through shortcuts to enhance productivity when it comes to communication with clients. And third is OpenFin Notification Center, that allows in one glance to see all the important notifications, all the messages from clients, and respond in line from those notifications.
Fantastic. Yeah. So yeah, it'd be great to see it in action. I'll give you a moment to flip screens here.
Sure.
Oh, there we already. I was thinking I was going to have to do some filler for a second, but you're ready to go. Over to you.
Yeah. No need fillers, right? So a short demo, it's a video that shows the key integration points with OpenFin. So what you can see on your screen is, first of all, our product, right? On the left, you can see our application. It's there for demo purposes only, because for this demo, we'll be using our application inside the OpenFin container, which is in the middle. And on the right, you can see a WhatsApp application. And so for the purpose of the demo, we'll be showing communication between company employee using our application inside OpenFin and the client using WhatsApp. So the approach here is that company employees are using our application, single pane of glass application that allows to communicate with any client over any messenger, no matter where they are. So I will hit play, and you will, and I will also be talking what's happening, right? So here in the middle, you can see the OpenFin browser that has showed a tab with our application inside. And now you can see that the client sends a message using the WhatsApp. Right, so let's wait for the message to arrive. You can see that this message is immediately seen in the notification center of OpenFin. So company employee can continue doing what they're doing while seeing the notification and addressing it whenever at the have time. So what you can also see now is using our application to send the message back to WhatsApp, right? So this is a bidirectional communication that we enable. And of course, all the messages are also appearing inside our tab inside OpenFin. So next part of demo is our integration with the OpenFin Home and Notification Center. So here on the right, Notification Center, you can see all the messages that arrive from clients, and the messages can be replied to from within the Notification Center itself. Okay, opening another tab showing our application, right? So you can multitask. You can open multiple tabs, maybe focusing on different chats with different clients. And here you can see that company employees can easily respond to different messages from a notification center itself without switching back and forth to different applications, which is a huge productivity hack. And what you can see in the middle, that at the moment you replied from the notification center, this message, of course, automatically appears in the chat room between the company employee and the client. So there have been a few notifications have been answered, and the other work can continue.
Yeah, and I think that's really interesting. I know you're going to get onto home and the search function as well, but I think one of the interesting things here is chat is a very permanent application on people's desktop, right? They're always going to have like a primary chat up and a tool, but when we think about the notification center, it's really these are configuration options for clients, right? They can either they can have them go to that center or not, depending, or perhaps different channels and so on. So there's kind of a layer of functionality here which which means the users can really get the information they want, when they need it. And as you say, taking that friction of always always going back to applications if they want to avoid that or respond more quickly. And that's I think that's really important in today's world where there's quite a few constraints on kind of screen real estate.
That's absolutely correct. And the same we can also see in OpenFin Home, right? From a single page, we can enable different functionalities such as a client onboarding, communication with users, initiation of different messages, easily locating chat rooms, and much more. Right. So in this example, you can see that through shortcuts, we're able to easily navigate to user profile or to client profile, and then click it, and then it will be opened inside our application tab inside OpenFin browser.
Perfect.
And maybe, and another example from home is the ability to load client information and also send messages. Right, so it's a with a few keyboard strokes, you can easily send a message to any client without even opening the messaging application itself. Here, example of messaging from within the OpenFin Home. I think that's it for the demo. I mean, it shows the key integration capabilities of the platform.
Yeah, and I know also just from that home there you can search those strings and so on. Go and basically search in a message database, actually retrieve related messages as well, which can also be displayed. So
of course, and this integration is just the first version of integration we have. We are integrating much more capabilities, both to be triggered from the notification center and also from home.
Yeah. And just as a reminder for everyone, so OpenFin Home is really the place, the OpenFin component that can search every application in your desktop and any search endpoint that you have wired up here. And what Dima and the guys have demonstrated is one of those services has been set up with LeapXpert, ability to go search user directories, start chat, search for information, search messages, all from within that home experience. Thanks for that, Dima. And so just like thinking ahead and where this goes next, what are you guys thinking for, I guess, the OpenFin integration, but also what is LeapXpert focused on more broadly in your product development right now?
Right. So specifically to OpenFin, what we love about OpenFin is the way it brings different applications together, right, and enables complex workflows between applications integrated in the framework itself. So mentioning our discussion about data previously. So an integration we're looking to do next is the ability to, for example, finding keywords and then highlighting those keywords and taking actions on specific keywords in chat room through other applications as part of the OpenFin framework. So that will be really cool. Workflow that starts in messaging component and goes to other types of applications on desktop that company employees are using. Extension of other integration will be with the notification center that you can see on the right. Really many different options that allows to enhance our platform capabilities and productivity of a user, of enabling more and more actions from the notification tab itself. Now, specifically about our product, as I mentioned, we started as a communication tool using our applications, then we expanded into support of enterprise messengers, and the next frontier for us will be supporting voice calls as well. This is something we announced just yesterday. So we've seen on the market that people loved our messaging experience, but they also wanted to place calls and receive calls. So as part of our vision of holistic communication experience between company employees and clients, we also introduced the support for voice calls, and which will also be floated through web interfaces you can see in the OpenFin browser tab. So right now you can see only messaging, and very soon there will be calling option, which will be available from within the same integration.
Perfect. Excellent. Well, listen, I know the team at OpenFin have really enjoyed working with the LeapXpert team. Super impressed with the demo and where you guys have got to the integration. I know the official release is coming out really shortly, in a couple of weeks' time, and there'll be more messages or more information about that very shortly. And but for now, thank you so much for taking the time to run us through LeapXpert product today, and we're looking forward to a really successful partnership. And with that, Mitra, I'll hand back to you.
Thank you very much, Adam.
Thank you very much, Dima and Adam. There was just one question that came up, which is, does WhatsApp integration extend to mobile as well, or just when WhatsApp is used on the desktop?
Of course, yes. In the demo, I was showing WhatsApp desktop. Of course, all our integration, not only WhatsApp, but all the messages we support, including WhatsApp, WeChat, Telegram, Signal, Line, SMS, iMessage, and so on, of course, available for both desktop and mobile experience.
Thank you. That was the only question. We can give it another minute if the audience has any more questions. Otherwise, this will be a wrap for our webinar today. As I said, the recording will be available in just a few hours for you to watch on demand. And one more question before we wrap it up. Which regions does LeapXpert support?
Every region. So we are a global company. When it comes to our customers, we have presence globally. When it comes to coverage, when it comes to messengers, any region you need. So yeah.
And can you speak a little bit more about your archiving capabilities? This may be a larger discussion, but that's another question that just came in.
Yeah, of course. So we are enabling communication, and then we are archiving each and every piece of information exchanged between company employees and clients. Everything is stored in our platform, and out of the box, we provide integration with many archiving solutions that exist on the market. So we enable communication, capturing all the data, and shipping this data to your existing archiving providers.
Thank you. And you showcased WeCom integration. Could you explain a little bit more about that?
Yeah, of course. So the way we integrate with WeChat, we have two ways. One is using WeChat mini app, and second using integration with WeCom. Specifically about WeCom, the idea is that company employees using the WeCom application, clients using WeChat. So both parties have a native communication experience of WeChat. At the back, we are importing all the information from WeCom. We are applying our enterprise controls, and we're shipping it to your echoing providers. In addition, we are providing tons of enterprise controls, which make WeCom much more appealing to use by financial institutions. Examples, we're providing antivirus and anti-malware support. We're providing a single sign-on integration, user management, record reconciliation, and much more.
And lastly, what are your capabilities with voice?
Right. This is what I was talking about a few minutes ago. So this week, we have launched our voice support. With our voice support, any company employee using our products being our integration with OpenFin, our web and mobile applications, and as well as our integration with Microsoft Teams. All of those products allow you to make regular voice calls to your clients, incoming and outgoing calls. And of course, because the focus is compliance, we are ensuring that all the calls are recorded. So we started as a company for providing messaging services, and people loved it. Right now, we are also adding voice support.
Thank you. That looks like was the last question. And with that, I would like to thank Dima, and I'll give you one last one before we cut off. Messaging encrypted.
Of course, yeah. All the information. So when it comes to communicating to different messengers, we support end-to-end encryption, right? So if you use WhatsApp, it's end-to-end encrypted. If you use iMessage, end-to-end encrypted. If you use Signal, end-to-end encrypted, right? So we are preserving the encryption of the consumer messages we integrate with. In addition, when we store all the information for compliance need, we encrypt everything at rest. Right? So all your information is encrypted at transit, and of course, all the information is encrypted at rest.
And speaking about encryption, are customers able to retain their native phone numbers for messaging and calling, or do they use a different number?
We support two basic modes. One mode is where company employees can retain their existing phone numbers. Second mode is in some cases we're able to provide separate phone numbers which are used for your communication. It really boils down to what level of compliance, what level of governance you want over your communications. We can have a longer conversation on the subject. Just drop a note and we schedule a separate session.
Absolutely. And that's how I wanted to close off this webinar. We will definitely share contact information for Dima. It looks like we have a fairly engaged audience. So if you have any further questions or would like to schedule a call with Dima, we'll make sure that you get his contact info. Dima, thank you so much for your presentation today. Adam, thank you for joining us this morning. And we hope to see you guys soon.
Thank you very much. Thank you for
Pleasure. Thank you.
Bye-bye.